What's up, folks? Welcome back to TacticalTortoise. My name is Trevi, and I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. This is Terry the Termagant, and Terry wants to absorb all of the biomass in the Warhammer 40,000 galaxy with an unending horde of almost literally infinite Termagants in the Battle for Warpforge event in the Warpforge digital card game. Here's Terry's deal. Every single turn, Terry generates a card at the table to both reduce the cost of their infantry units and spawn Termagants. And here's a cool thing about Termagants in the Warpforged card game. Like many digital card games, that uses a resource mechanic that scales every round, so players will have the same number of resources to spend to play cards out of their hand and draws the same number of cards every turn. However, unlike many of them, your position on the board actually matters. So you're able to do things like buff nearby units. And this showcases one of the cool faction mechanics in this game for Tyranids. Warpforge contains a ton of factions from the Warhammer 40,000 universe, including things like Necrons and Space Marines and Orcs, but also lesser known factions like Sororitas, Emperor's Children, and the upcoming Space Wolves, which will be released later this month in the Battle for Warpforge event. One of Tyranid's core mechanics is the Swarm mechanic, which allows adjacent units that share the Swarm keyword to combine into larger units. So if I play Brood Progenitor, I can make little Termagants and then slightly bigger Termagants. Good job. Which, as you can imagine, gets incredibly out of hand given the fact that Terry basically generates a Termagant card to your hand for free. However, one Termagant is not that exciting. 3 Termagants, however, which is allowed by the Tide mechanic, which allows Termagants to replay themselves multiple times out of your hand every time you play the initial version of the card, which, when you combine it with the Swarm effect, allows this unit to assemble itself into a teeming mass of Tyranids with a theoretically unlimited upper half. It's not quite exponential, but it is a very linear growth path to being absolutely unsustainably stupid. We just play this card again, and then keep summoning Termagants to make our Termagants really big and kill that guy. And then he just dies. Yay! I like Termagant. We get to take one game action for the entire game, and then we win. Every single time the Termagants combine, they add all of their stats together. Their health, ranged, and melee damage. In Warpforged, you can engage in both ranged and melee attack, and as you can see, the Termagant unit's ranged damage is astronomical once the horde gets out of control. When you attack in the game, you attack particular enemy units individually, and you choose which kind of attack you are willing to engage in, whether that's ranged or melee, with both units dealing that damage to each other, which lasts permanently, allowing you to come together attacks to finally finish off enemies. So we shoot this guy to death. Actually, we melee him, because he'd take less damage if we melee, but we have enough damage to kill him. This allows you to construct a board state where Terry's horde of Termagants is able to theoretically one-shot the enemy commander, winning them the game. Yay! Now, the folks over at Everguild wanted me to talk to you about Warforge and how you can play it both on iOS and Android devices. Like I have here, this is my phone, and I can do stuff. That's pretty cool. But for the most part, I've been playing it on live stream over on Twitch and having a pretty good time. And they want me to talk to you especially about the Battle for Warforge event, which is taking place October 23rd through 30th, and we'll see the release of the new Space Wolves faction with a variety of Space Wolf-specific units and characters being represented. All the factions of the game, like we talked about with Terry and their friends, all have totally unique mechanics, and I'm pretty excited to see what Space Wolves will bring. You have things like Orcs getting stacking bonuses based on the number of Orcs you have on the table, Chaos Space Marines becoming better and better as they achieve glory in combat by engaging in multiple fights, Space Marines using stratagems and stratagem synergies to do crazy damage, and Sororitas using a unique prayer mechanic. And when you join the game, you get one of these decks for free. However, you will be able to unlock booster packs and upgrade your deck as you go, which you will need to, because holy crap, the higher tier decks go absolutely insane. Terry needs to get back on their Termagant spawning game in order to fight these massive boards of insanely powerful enemies. All right, boys. We continue to construct our giant army. Another! This drink, I like it. Another. But in addition to fighting for your faction, the 41st Millennium, you can also fight for me, your fearless leader, because the Battle for Warpforge is going to pit my team of elite gamers against those of another creator. When you join Warpforge, you can choose to join Team Tactical Tortoise, and your points during the ranked play will go towards team success. So join my team on Warpforge using the links down in the video description or at the QR code on screen. Using those links, you can also get access to the Space Wolf faction early to give it a try and see if the Vilka Fenrica are your cup of beyond. I think I got my lore references accurate. Somebody let me know in the comments section. I've been playing Warpforge over on Twitch, and we've been having a good time with the game over there. It does play on PC and Mac. You can get it on Steam and just assign your Steam account, or you can play it on your phone as well. You can play it all over the place, which is great. It does have some problems with ultra widescreen support, however, if you play it on a desktop. So I don't know, Everguild Limited, get on that. But with that, I'll see you there. Come join myself and Terry the Termagan as we seek to conquer the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Remember to keep it classy, folks, and have happy wargaming.